On our last show, we saw Faisal Joseph in conversation with Hanny Hassan about the history of London's Muslim community. Today we present part 2 of their discussion and learn something about Hanny's personal journey and his long-time involvement with multicultural and interfaith work.
I want to talk a little bit because, Hanny, you haven't been Johnny-come-lately on the interfaith scene, and a lot of us got much more heavily involved after 9/11 because of the need and the bias and the hatred and the Islamophobia that was out there. But it really turned into be an opportunity. But you were one of these pioneers that was involved in interfaith dialoguing many, many years before. Can you share with our viewers your involvement with it, how you came to be involved with it, why you got involved with it, and how have you seen it change at all?
Well, really my involvement probably started in a little bit more nuanced way. In my younger years, Canada was going through a transformative stage in which we were finding our identity. And during the Trudeau period, we developed a charter and then subsequently the Multiculturalism Act. My very first serious involvement was actually during the period when David Peterson was the Premier of Ontario. I had been appointed previously by the Davis government and subsequently had served under the Bob Rae government on the Ontario Advisor Council on Multiculturalism and Citizenship, and David Peterson appointed me the chair of that council, and that council dealt with all things multicultural in the sense that it was not the song and dance kind of manifestation of multiculturalism, but the rights and responsibilities side of multiculturalism, which encompassed faith as well as race and all of the other differences that are exhibited within Canadian society. And I was fortunate to have a number of partners in a variety of faith traditions, primarily in the Christian and Jewish communities, who were also receptive to the idea of talking about faith and what we share.
Can you talk a little bit about the importance of that with respect to our faith communities and finding the commonalities, rather than what we see day to day today with people trying to divide and conquer, and how important it is for all of us?
Well, you know, you're right about that, and my own experience with people within our own community who believe that they have the right answer, and there are others on the other side who feel the same way about their faith, is a barrier and something that you have to overcome. I'll tell you a story, if I may.
Sure.
I was doing a lot of work with Holy Rosary Cathedral, the priest at Holy Rosary Cathedral in Toronto a few years back, about 10 years ago. And he was transferred to another jurisdiction out of Toronto. And I attended his going away event, and I had a question that I had wanted to ask him, but I was worried about affecting our relationship, so I didn't. But he was leaving, so I said to him, Father Paul, I want to ask you, knowing where the Catholic Church is on salvation, and knowing what I believe about salvation and our theology, how is it that you treat me like a brother, and that we do so many things together in your church? And his response to me was, well, it's like this. You're climbing up one side of the mountain, I'm climbing up the other. We'll find out when we get to the top. So that's the openness of the resolution of our salvation as believers to the final result being with God, I think, is where we all have to come from if we're going to have a dialogue, because we can't have an exclusivist kind of approach to faith.
Hanny, I want to talk about something that's much more even personal than that, and something that you've been honored by the government with. And of course, our community is so proud, our chests are bursting, that you were a recipient recently of the Order of Canada and recognized for the work that you've done in our community, both in and outside. Can you tell us how you found out about it and what it personally was like? I know that you had the investiture and the ceremony, but what it meant to you and how it was received?
Well, first of all, I'll answer the last part first. I was overwhelmed by receiving it and the response that I got from all sorts of people within my own community and the external community, people that I've worked with. So the reaction has been just tremendous. I tell you, the thing that I believe is that is important about this is that there is an acknowledgement that this work is worthy. It's not about me doing the work so much as the fact that the government sees fit to, or the Governor General, because in truth it is the Governor General's work, that the Governor General sees fit to recognize the work of interfaith cooperation, recognize and really the aspects of my work that they responded to were in three sectors. First of all, work within my own community, work between communities, both in interfaith and between cultures, and finally my work as a Canadian citizen, whether coaching baseball or being on the parent-teachers organizations or the Judicial Appointments Advisory Committee. But it was primarily the interfaith work that caught their attention, and to get the acknowledgement that it's worthy of recognition, I think, is what is really important, and hopefully will encourage others.
Lastly, to conclude our dialogue today, I wanted to ask you about our youth, which are so critical and important. Not that many years ago, you were part of that group, making inroads at Western University and as well as others. What do you see in the role of the youth today, and what kind of shape are we in the Muslim community, not only for their contribution in the Muslim community, but in their contribution to the non-Muslim community living in London?
Well, I think within the Muslim community, our young people are facing some serious dilemmas with respect to identity. The bias that you spoke about earlier, the Islamophobic attitudes that exist are causing some of our young people to deny their heritage and their faith. They don't want to confront that. They don't want to be in a position of having to respond. On the other hand, we're seeing other young people who are responding in just the opposite way and are manifesting in a very public way what their faith identity is. Sort of almost in your face sometimes. So I think it's a very precarious time for our young people. It's going to require some really wise leadership from the community and hopefully some opportunity for mentoring by those who have gone through this. It's not going to be easy.
Well, Hanny, I can't thank you enough, and I should close by saying that I had an opportunity to attend ceremony at a high school for honors graduates at Lucas, and my son was there, and it was wonderful to see that as I was going through the list of all the honors that were in the list, I think that every third or fourth student was actually Muslim, that were extremely high achievers. So I think we're in good hands, and with the leadership that you've shown on behalf of the community, I want to thank you very, very much for your contribution, for all that you've done. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching today. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Please join us again, and remember you can always visit us on the web at lifeandfaith.ca. We do appreciate your support of local television programming. Have a wonderful week, and we look forward to seeing you again. Bye for now.